Alright, so we are going to be practicing a lot with like factoring and different things with polynomials as we're getting ready for our 7th and our 8th unit and even our 9th unit. A lot of this stuff comes into play and we need to be pretty strong on it. And this whole packet is going to be a quiz grade at the end. So I'll be doing some of the questions from each of the worksheets. Once I'm done with that worksheet, I will say in the video to pause and then work on those problems. I would not try and do all of the video and then try and go back and do all of the problems. It's good to watch the piece and then practice, and then watch the next piece and then practice. Okay. On the YouTube video too, I'll have the links to like the time of when each one starts, so you don't have to go scrolling through or anything. I'll put all of those up as well. Right? So we're looking at our first page. This is page 77. It's a little crooked. Alright, so then again, these are these riddle worksheets. So make sure you're reading the directions. I'll kind of help you out with each one. Right, but it answers whatever riddle is on top. So this riddle is, what did the carpenters call their base quartet? Okay, and it says simplify each expression. Assume that no divisor equals 0. That's not going to be too big of an issue for what we're doing. And then find your answer in the set of answers under the exercise and cross out the box above it. When you finish, the answer to the title question will remain. Okay? So we're going to, again, as I said, you will want to do your work on a separate sheet of paper because I do want to see work for everything. It's part of why it's a quiz grade, not just a homework grade. I want to see every step of your work. Okay? So on a separate sheet of paper, I would start with number 1. It's okay if they're out of order. Right? They don't have to really be in order, especially because some that I do, I'll be picking random ones because I want to kind of make sure I get every type of problem. So it's okay if your questions on the side are out of order or on your separate sheet of paper. So we have 6x plus 9 over 3. So really what we're doing is we're taking a 3 out of both of our first numbers before we divide. And it's called factoring it out, right? We're factoring a 3 out. So if I factor a 3 out, I put a 3 out front. If I factor a 3 out of my 6x, I'm left with 2x. And if I factor a 3 out of 9, I'm left with 3. Okay. I really want you to get in the habit of doing the work this way because when we get into, I think, Unit 8, KC8, this is probably the biggest things that students mess up when we're looking at like dividing things. So the number you divide by has to come out of both of them. And then 3 divided by 3, right, those cancel. So we're left with 2x plus 3. Doesn't technically need parentheses around it. So I'll look down here for 2x plus 3, and we're going to cross out that O. We're then going to look at number 6. We have 12v to the 5th. Minus 27 v to the 4th over 3v squared. Okay. I'm taking a 3v squared out of both of them. So I take 3 out of 12, I'm left with 4. If I take 2 v's, right, from v to the 5, I'm left with 3 of them. Same thing here, 27 divided by 3 is 9. And if I have 4 v's and I take out 2, I'm left with v squared. Then these cancel out. We're left with 4v cubed minus 9v squared. Okay. So we're looking for the answer, 4v cubed minus 9v squared, and we cross out that v. I'm going to scroll this down. The last one we're going to look at is number 14. And we have 45. Ignore that. 45 a squared b to the fourth minus 60a cubed b squared minus 15a squared b. And we're dividing that by 15a squared b. So in my next step, I'm going to put 15a squared b on the outside. All right, 45 divided by 15 is 3. I've taken out a squared, so that whole thing goes away, but I've only taken out 1b. Right. From here, 60 divided by 15 is 4. I had 3 a's, I took out 2, so I'm left with 1a. I had 2 b's, I took out 1, so I'm left with 1b. And then negative 15 divided by 15 is minus 1. Took out 2, I had 2 a's, took out 2 a's. I had 1b, I took out 1b, so I have no a's or b's left. Those cancel out. And I am left with 3b cubed minus 4ab minus 1. So I'm going to look here, 3b cubed minus 4ab minus 1, and I will cross that out. Okay? Alright, go ahead and pause this video and then work on the remaining questions, and then then when you get to the next worksheet, watch the next part. Alright, we are now looking at our second page, page 78, if you're following the page numbers on the bottom. And you should still be doing all of these problems on a separate sheet of paper. So our question this time is, why was the engineer driving the train backwards? So looking at we're going to start by looking at number 2, and you're doing these on a separate sheet of paper. We have 24x to the 5th equals 6x squared times blank. So this is very similar to what we did before. The easiest way I have to do it is just divide. Right, this is multiplication, so I want to get rid of what I'm multiplying by. So we have 24 divided by 6 is 4. X to the 5th divided by x squared. A lot of people want to do like 5 divided by 2, but that's not quite right, right? I have 5 x's, and I'm taking away 2 of the x's, so I'm left with 3 x's equals that blank. Okay. So I'm just going to look for that answer. It's O. So I'm going to scroll down. This was problem number 2. And where it says 2, I'm going to put O. And that's really it for this worksheet. It's kind of working on our dividing with numbers and variables. We're going to look at one more together. We'll look at number 6. Number 6 is 4a squared b to the 6th equals 2ab squared, then a blank. So I'm going to divide by 2ab squared, divide by 2ab squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. A squared divided by a. I have 2 a's here. I'm taking away 1 of them. I only have 1 a left. I have 6 b's here. I'm dividing by 2 of them, right? So I'm canceling out 2 of them. So that means I have 4 b's left. Alright, so we have 2ab to the 4th. Okay. Oh, that one is also O. That's fun. So then down here on number 6, put O. And that is it for that worksheet. Go ahead, pause the video, and work on the rest of the problems. All right, we are now looking at our third worksheet, number 7, or page 79. If you're following the bottom. This one says, why did everybody go to the boat show? So each row across has 5 boxes. Only 2 of them contain factors of the given monomial. Circle these 2 factors in each row. Notice the number and letter above each circled factor. Put the letter in the matching numbered box at the bottom of the page. Okay, so we're looking for factors. So a factor is something that evenly divides into it, or you can say like it multiplies to it. So 4 is a factor of 12 because 4 times 3 is 12. 3 is a factor of 12 because 3 times 4 is 12, right? So 6 and 2, right? So those are our factors of 12. So we are going to look at number 1, and I'm really just going to start dividing and see if it goes into it. So 8n to the 4th over 4n to the 5th. Right, 8 goes into 4 2 times, so that works. But I have 4 n's here, and I'm trying to take away 5 of them, and I can't do that. So this does not work because of those n's. Okay. Then I'm going to divide again. 8n to the 4th over 2n. Right, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Take away 1 of them. That one works. Okay. 16 does not go into 8. I know we could write it as a fraction as 1/2, but that does not make it a factor. It has to have an integer, right? A whole number. Otherwise, it's not a factor. That one does not work. Okay, and then 8n to the 4th, or negative 4n cubed. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. That's fine. N to the 4th, n to the 3rd is n. So it's okay to be negative. It just has to be an integer, right? Integers can be negative. So this one works. So I'm guessing this one's not going to work. Let's check it. Right, my n's work. I could get n to the... All right. I wrote these wrong. N to the 4th here, n to the 8 here. So negative 8 divided by 8 is negative 1. That's fine. Every number is a factor of itself, but my n's, again, do not work because their bigger one is trying to divide. Okay. So then, once I have those, I'm going to go down the bottom. I have 10 is H and 15 is F. So I'm going to go down the bottom. And under 10, I'm going to write H, and under 15, I'm going to write F. Okay, so it tells us those. All right, we're going to look at one more. We're going to look at number 6. Or no, sorry, number 5. I lied. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. 10pq to the 5th over 20q. Okay, 10 and 20 don't divide, so that one does not work. 10pq to the 5th over 5p squared q. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Oh, but my p's don't work, right? The bigger p is on the bottom. Next one, 10. Oh, that one did not work. P q to the 5th over p q squared. Technically, there's a 1 here, right? So 10 divided by 1 is 10. My p's completely cancel. Q to the 5th divided by q squared is q third, right? There's a p here, those just go away, right? All right, so this one works. Then 10p q to the 5th over negative 10p q to the 7th. Again, that's negative 1. My p's cancel. This part doesn't work. The bigger q is on the bottom. So I'm guessing this one is going to work. Let's make sure we check it. 10p q to the 5th over negative 2p q to the 3rd. 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. P's go cancel, that's fine. Q to the, I don't know why I circled, q to the 5th divided by q to the 3rd is q squared. So that does work. And we were able to get a number. So we have 13 is O, and 1, I'm going to go with that's an I. Yes, because L looks like that. Okay. So that is it for this worksheet. Go ahead, pause the video, and then work on the rest of those problems. All right, looking at page 81, all right, we have 2 questions here. What do you get when you cross a chicken with a centipede? And what do you get when you cross a mink with an octopus? So what we're going to do is factor each polynomial as the product of its greatest monomial factor and another polynomial. Find your answer and notice the letter next to it. Each time the exercise number appears in the code, write this letter above it. Keep working and you'll find out what you get from these double crosses. Okay, so we look at the first one. We're gonna look at number 1. We have 6x squared plus 9x plus 27. Okay. We want to break these down into their prime factors, so we can see what they have in common. So prime factors are numbers that don't divide anymore. So like 2 is a prime factor, 3 is a prime factor, 5, 7, 11 is your next one, 13 is your next one. Right, because 5 can only be broken into 5 and 1. 11 is only 11 and 1. Okay, so those are our prime numbers. So if I look here, I have 2 times 3, and we like to break up our variables as well. Okay, so that's what 6x squared is. 9 is 3 times 3. And 27, I can take out a 3, and then it's a 3 and a 3. Okay, so knowing this will come from practice. Keep dividing out one of these numbers until you're left with just those numbers. Okay. So now I'm going to look at what they have in common. If I look, the only thing they all have is a 3. And I could have circled the first one. I don't know why I didn't. Right? These both have a 3, but this one doesn't have another 3. These both have an x, but that one doesn't have another x. Okay? So then I pull out the 3, and then we write what's left. Then I have 2 x's. I'm going to multiply it back together. I have a 3 and an x left, and here I have a 3 times a 3 left. That's 9. Okay, so it's 3 times 2x squared plus 3x plus 9. Okay. So we come down and look for our answer, and it is 3 times 2x squared plus 3x plus 9u. So then under anywhere we see a 1, we're going to put a u. So I see a 1 here, and that's it. Okay? All right, let's look at number 5. Number 5 says 4x to the 4th plus 20x cubed plus 12x squared. 4 is 2 times 2 times x times x. For 20, I know I can take a 2 out of 20, and then I'm left with 10. I can take another 2 and then a 5, right? A lot of people want to do it's 4 times 5, which is true, but 4 is not your prime. And then there's 3 x's. So write our next one underneath. Plus 2 times 3 is 12 times x times x. So now we have to see what do they all have in common. Well, they all have their first of 2 here. They all have another 2. They all have an x and another x. Right, so they all have 2 2's and 2 x's. After that, this one has 2 x's, this is a 5 and x, and this just has a 3. So that's all they have in common. Again, when we write it out down here, I want to multiply it back together. So 2 times x is 4x squared. And what do we have left in our parentheses? X squared plus 5x plus 3. That's nice. This first one here is an E. So anywhere we see a number 5 up here, we are going to put an E. All right, the next one we're going to look at is number 9. We have 6a cubed minus 18ab. So 6 is 2 times 3, and then we have 3 a's. 18 is definitely a 2, then that's 9, so that's 3 times 3, right? So we're looking for what they have in common. They both have a 2, they both have a 3, and they both have an a. So 2 times 3 times a is 6a, so we've used those. What do we have left? A squared minus b. So 6a, a squared minus, 3b. I forgot the 3 there. So then we're looking at F for number 9. Alright, and then I want to do number 12. So I'm going to scroll down because it gets long with how many things there are. So number 12 is 6a to the 4th b minus 10a cubed b squared minus 6a squared b cubed. So this is 2 times 3 times 4a's times b. Minus 10 is 2 times 5 times a times b. And the 6a squared b cubed is 2 times 3. So if we look at what all of these have in common, they all have a They all have a 2 in them. And they all have an A. They all have another A. They all have a B. Okay, and that's it. So we have 2A squared B. And what's left, this is 3 and 2A is left, so 3A squared minus, this is 5AB. Then minus, this is 3b squared. Alright, so that's number 12, and that goes with A, I believe. Yep, that looks right. So number 12 is A. And there's 12 here, 12 here, and 12 here. No, I didn't miss any of the other ones. So that one had 3 of them up there. Alright, and that is it for this one. All right, go ahead, pause this video, and then start on the next and work on the rest of the problems.